Welcome to my card reveal for Skybound Odyssey. First, let's have a look at the common art and the rare art. Tick, 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 go. Where the mountain lays its feet, water rushing along its beat, a stranger stops to say hello. The tunnel waits for none. Shimmer of silver passed in the sun, a coin dropped on the road, and the turn again begun. Well, my general thoughts first. With this card, if you are the first player, you give away the first player marker. You automatically become the first player again next turn. There are several hero abilities that trigger on noon on their turn, so this will deny these triggers for your opponent. Think about a few of the new heroes like Hare and Hare. There are also a few heroes that you give some extra advantages like Lindiwe and Akesha, as they can activate their hero power respectively for free instead of paying the one or even activate at all. With being first again, you can start a turn, so you can get around your opponent's sabotage by playing from reserve, or you can sabotage your opponent first. In a 2v2 game, you can actually target your opponent or your teammate. I think this is a great addition for this game mode. And there will probably be more things that you will be given the advantage. Let's have a look at the Bravos heroes first. The first thing that popped into my mind when I saw this card, hey, I can have a Buddha up multiple turns in a row. Exactly, you are giving away the coin this day, but next morning the coin comes back to you. Meaning at noon you are the first player again and Buddha comes back faster than this Hare hits the reserve. I see both common and rare being played in Kojo. Being able to pressure your opponent multiple days with Buddha seems too good to be true. This way, you are like Sigismar, but with the power of 2 tokens. Sure, you need to play another card first, but I don't think that's a hard payoff. The rare is easier to slot in, so I will probably run 2 or 3 in most aggressive versions. I cannot think about anything sweeter than starting day 1 with Buddha and a turn 1 Hare, just to come back the next day with Buddha and another card. I don't feel Otsaria wants to play the Hare even in common version. With all those big mana characters and spells you want to play, being first is a big negative. Maybe with some other new Skybound cards it might be nice, but for now I don't see why you won't ever be first twice in a row with him. Then Bazira. The common feels okay for her. The rare is probably not value enough to be one of those 15 rare slots. Hear me out. You play an Aklut while being first. Exhaust 2 cards, then play the Hare. Next turn, you start first and can play a Groot again to make sure your opponent is not going to use a card in reserve again. This play can only be done with 8 or more mana, but it feels really powerful, as your opponents can only play from hand 2 turns in a row. Other than this interaction with Aklut, I don't see much else why you want to play them in a Bazir deck at the moment. Sol and Halula. This is our new Bravos hero. When you pass first, you get a counter. If you have 3 or more counters, you create a 2/2/2 token in your companion expedition. So, you want to pass first as soon as possible each turn. If you can play the first card each turn, this would be a lot easier. That is why I think this card is great for early game Sol strategy. You play on turn 1 the rare version of the Hare. You spend all your mana directly and going to be the first person next day. Sounds really amazing. You know one thing for sure, your opponent is not passing before your turn 1 and probably also not before turn 2. The common version can only be played, of course, from turn 2 and onwards, because it's 4 mana and as long as you are the first player. For me, this card works so well in the early stage of the game to get those counters as fast as possible to 3 and even to 5. As you are the first player, you'll play the first card and therefore can pass directly after it, without leaving too much mana open. In a later stage of the game, this card is still great, as you can pass with 1 or 2 cards played, getting that gigantic Halua token into play. I love that the Hare has good stats for his mana cost, so that you don't feel weak while playing him. At 3 counters and onwards, you get a 2/2 token, which can easily be done by turn 3 with this card. You can even pass your turn with 2 mana open and still get value, as both combined give you 5 stats when you had only 5 mana to spend. I see this rare being a staple in the months to come for Sol. Now for the Izmir heroes. Lindiva can use this hero quite easily. Get your maul out and give away the first player marker. If you don't bring out the maul first, it will cost you 1 mana afterwards. Giving away the token and starting first isn't probably that big of a deal as she tends to play low to the ground anyways. For Akasha, I don't think this card is doing much other than denying opponents' first player and noon effects, and I think the same goes for Ravana's. For Mojo, it seems you don't want to be the first player as well, so I don't think it will see some play here. As Mojo wants to play big spells, I think starting second is the most optimal. So this was my reveal. I think the Hare is a very good designed card and something to look out for. Big thanks to my wife for helping me with creating the pawn, and of course to Equinox for giving me this beautiful review. I'm really looking forward to the next set. I am the Bravos Hare, and I hope to see you again soon.